lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup Misfit. Now I'm super excited and just so thrilled to start today's video, but before I do, if you watch my channel, you will notice that I'm sitting in a bit of a different area. I'm actually on the opposite side of my living room because where I normally film is now covered by my couch. My living room had a little rearrangement last night, so I'm just trying to play it out, see how I feel about it, and if I like the way that my living room looks. So I decided I would just sit down in this corner. I put together a little setup just to have something in the background for you guys besides my pink wall and this gray wall here. And things might change here as well. I'm not quite sure. I'm just going to kind of play it day by day, ear by ear. But for the next few videos, I feel like this is going to be the background that you guys will be seeing for a little bit at least. I think that was it. So with that out of the way, I'm ready to get into this video to start this project. This is Project Level Up, which was created by Sofie Alexandra. I have binge watched this and watched so many other people along with Sofie do this project since last year when she created it. And I had been wanting to jump on this for quite a while now. And back in November, I was just itching to get into this, but I wanted to hold off. I told myself I was going to wait because I wanted to end a few other projects. I wanted to just play around with my collection, focus on a few specific things, and just kind of see where things were going to be around this time of year. It is New Year's Eve that I'm filming this. This is actually going to go up on the 5th. So the 5th of every month is going to be when I do my updates. As of right now, I may end this in November because I tend to like to do that and then have the last month of each year to just kind of play around or focus on only specific items. But we'll see how it goes. I may do this until December next year, but again, we'll just kind of play it by ear, see how things are going. So basically, Project Level Up, like I said, was created by Sofie Alexandra, and it's a way to really work through your eyeshadow palettes. So the premise of this project is level 1 is where you start and you either handpick or randomly choose a palette, and then you have to make sure that you use each shade in the palette one time and hit one pan. Then you level up to level 2 where you do the same thing and you use every shade in the palette twice and you make sure you hit 2 pans, level up to 3, and so forth. Now, Sofie and everybody else that I have watched can stop at level 5 and then restart. Or if you prefer, you can just keep on going until your heart's desire. It's totally up to you. Myself, I think I'm going to be stopping at level 5 as well and then restarting. So the way that I'm going to kind of do this, I just have a couple of notes that I wanted to mention. So I'm going to have this structured the same way that I structure my Pan Those eyeshadows, which will be starting up as well in on the 7th of January. So those two are going to kind of go hand in hand in a specific way, which I'll explain in just a bit. But what also stays the same is my beige cream matte eyeshadows. I use those to set down my lids, and I use one at a time till I'm completely finished it. Then I work on the next one, and I hand pick those shadows each time. So that's going to stay the same, and I do not use black eyeshadow. So those two shades, if they are in a palette that I roll, will not count towards that palette. So say I have a 5-pan palette and that palette has a beige and a black, it's going to go down to a 3-pan palette just because I'm not going to change the way that I do my makeup, and I'm not going to start to use black eyeshadows just because I have no purpose to use them. I don't like them, so I'm not going to start. And then my beige or cream shade mattes, I just like to work one at a time and not jump around and use a whole bunch at a time. So I'm just going to continue that the same way as well. So that's going to stay the same. That's how I also do my Pan Those eyeshadows. So it's going to stay the same for that project as well, which I'll explain more when I do that intro. Also, what I do with Pan Those eyeshadows and what I'm going to do with this project here is I randomize my letters A through Z. So what I've decided is for level 1 and 2 and possibly level 3, I'm going to randomize my palette. And for level 4 and level 5, I'm going to hand pick my palette. Especially since this is my first year doing this, I want to just see how I'm enjoying this project, how I feel about the project, how randomly choosing a palette has worked out for me or may not work out for me. So I do just want to kind of have a bit of a choice when it comes to level 4, level 5, because you have to make sure you're hitting 4 and 5 pans in those palettes that you have in. So we'll see when we get to that point, but I will be randomizing at least level 1, level 2, and possibly level 3. Now the way I'm going to do this again is randomizing through my alphabet, which is A to Z. So I've been doing a lot of work, and in this notebook I have my palettes in order by the alphabet. So I have everything written out. I did this last year for Pan Those Eyeshadows. I did it again. So I just sat down and finished writing out all of my eyeshadows. But if I can find here. So this is my palettes. So I have A's in all of the palettes, not the brand, but the palette names that start with A are here, B is here, and so forth. So I, of course, have a couple of letters that don't have a palette to go with it. So if I do choose that letter, I will just re-roll. So what I've decided is, because I don't want the palettes that I'm choosing in this project and the shades that are going to be chosen in Pan Those Eyeshadows to overlap, if I choose a palette in this project and then I randomize something in Pan Those Eyeshadows, I'm going to make sure that that shade is not in the palette that I'm currently working on in this project, and vice versa. So it might get a little bit tricky later on down the road, but if I'm choosing a level 2 palette, I'm going to make sure that either I'm excluding that palette from being rolled in altogether, especially since I don't have a whole lot of palettes in each letter category. I can minimize one if I need to. Or if I happen to roll that palette and there's a shade in there that I'm already working on, I will just re-roll. So the two projects are gonna kind of go hand in hand together like that. They're going to intertwine a little bit, but I don't wanna have any overlap, so I have to make sure that I know what I'm working on for each project and whatnot. So I did decide to do it this way because I loved the randomization of the alphabet and then randomizing 1 through 4, if that's how many letter A's that I have, and I choose a palette that starts with the letter A. I just thought it was more fun that way. I enjoy doing it for Pan Those Eyeshadows, so I figured it'd be fun to do it this way as well, instead of just using a randomized wheel or something like that to choose my palette. So with all of that being said, I think that's everything that I wanted to mention. I am going to do just that right now and choose my level 1 project palette. So we are going to find the app to do so. And we're gonna go to the alphabet and we're gonna, reset this. Okay. So this is what I use for Pan Those Eyeshadows, so nothing in here has changed. I just reset this so that it's 0. And we have the alphabet here, so we're going to pick letter B, and I have 5 palettes that start with the letter B, so let's go and randomize 1 through 5 and see which palette I happen to choose. Number 1, which is Bronze This Way by Essence. So that's kind of funny. I'm gonna go grab that palette and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is my Bronze This Way palette by Essence. I have used this because the whole front is looking pretty worn, but this is what my palette's looking like right now. So I had this shade here, which I believe is called No Mistakes, in my Pan Those Eyeshadows last year, so I hit pan on that. This was that cream matte shade that I used to set down my lids, and I completely finished that one off. So obviously that palette's not, or that shade's not going to be included, but this shade still will be, so I have 5 shades to work on. So because I've already hit pan in this shade, even though I'm going to use it, I can't hit pan in it again. Or I guess technically I could, but I'm going to focus on one of these 4 shades here to hit pan on. Now, I don't know which one I want. I'm just going to let it happen, and whichever shade happens to hit pan first is the one that I'm going to work with. But I am excited to use this palette because I really enjoy these little Essence palettes. And I wanted to get more use on this palette since I've already completely finished off one shade and I have pan in this one. As you can tell, I was using it for my brows, so I can start to do that again if I feel. But I really do enjoy this, and I'm really excited to start to see a lot more use on it and have at least one more pan in this palette. Now, with that being said, since this palette is in this project, when I do start Pan Those Eyeshadows, I'm going to make sure that none of these shades are eligible to be rolled into that to that project. So that way I'm not double dipping, because I'm just, for myself, I'd much rather get more use on my collection as a whole, and not just like focus on only a few items. So this is my palette for level 1. So I'm really happy about this palette actually. And I'm really excited to see how long it's going to take to hit pan on one of the shades. We'll have to see which one that is and which one I just happen to gravitate towards. But I'm really looking forward to the first update to see whereabouts I'm at in this palette. I feel like using every shade in here one time is not going to be an issue. I could pretty much do a whole look and hit, well, I have 3 shimmers and 2 mattes. So yeah, I could do a whole look with this palette and get my one use out of the way and then just focus on whatever shade I feel like. So I may just do that. We'll have to see. If I remember, I'm going to try and take photos. It is a little hard for me to take iPhotos and or remember to post them. That's a whole nother story. But we are going to try. So level 1, I'm really happy about this. Let me know if you are doing this. I'm really excited to watch this year unfold with this project. I will have Sofie Alexandra's project down below. She is posting her intro for this video for this year early in January. I'm just not quite sure when. So I'm going to post her 21 video below, or just her channel, one of the two, and then you guys can just go and take a peek. And I'm just going to post the instructions and the palettes that I'm working on and whatnot down below as well. I will have a playlist for this project too, so I will start that and have that down in the description. So same as always, everything will be down there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'm so excited to get started on this project. I hope you stick around to watch my progress on this series, and that is everything. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye!